Once again, fires are raging in California, and this time it's in the heart of Southern California, the Pacific Palisades. The destruction these fires have caused in this section of Los Angeles is devastating, fueled by high winds and the lack of rain. Governor Gavin Newsom is mobilizing an all-out state response, and of course, President Biden has acted swiftly to authorize federal help and money. And in the midst of this catastrophic event, some people are acting heroically and selflessly, and others are trying to politicize it. I'm going to show video of Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett absolutely slamming a CNN host for politicizing the fire. But first, it's worth spending a minute on the people who are helping. While Trump galoshes around like the typical fool he always is, making comments about annexing Canada, what has the Canadian response been? Canada, which is 1,200 some miles away, has sent water bombers and helicopters. Veterinarians like Annie Harvelitz have opened their hospitals to take in pets. Actor Steve Guttenberg has not only been moving cars to help fire vehicles get through, but did this impromptu public service announcement.
Up in the hills. Yeah, there are people stuck up there. So we're trying to clear Palisade Drive, and I'm walking up there as far as I can, moving cars. But people leave don't take their keys with them as if it's a parking lot. There are families up there. There are pets up there. There are people who really need help. Of course, we've got a huge fire up there. We got huge winds right now. And it's really important for people to help each other. It's really important for everybody to band together.
Now, there is no doubt that California wildfires are the result of a dangerous combination of climate change and population levels which have outstripped their water supplies. Those supplies themselves dwindled because of, wait for it, climate change. So, of course, the people who deny climate change are always quick to either blame these fires on something else or change the topic completely. Noted climate change expert and part-time actor James Woods, for example, posted this about the fire. This fire is not from climate change, you ignorant. It's because liberal idiots like you elect liberal idiots like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. One doesn't understand the first thing about fire management, and the other can't fill the water reservoirs. But in the face of not being able to deny climate change anymore, the right wing is looking to distract and blame fire management on DEI as the cause. Yes, that's right. Fires are raging because there's too many women running fire departments. Here's He-Man in Chief, Jesse Waters, sitting comfortably in a studio thousands of miles away, blaming this on women.
This right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the leadership of the LA Fire Department. I sure hope they know what they're doing.
And here's a Twitter user responding. Firefighters went straight at this for 40 hours so far, and a-holes from Jesse Waters to Elon Musk to Donald Trump talk about DEI and water that doesn't exist. And next up was brown-noser to the billionaire class, Scott Jennings, who also tried to pin this on DEI. Watch him state his case, and then watch Jasmine Crockett kick his butt.
California, you might have recall a news story from last year. There was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California, and the interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have DEI, we have budget cuts, and yet I'm wondering now, if your house is burning down, how much do you care what color the firefighters are?
You can respond, and then
listen. I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is Black women. So let me be clear. Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House. And I can promise you, it was my ancestors that built the White House. So listen, if we have been good enough to build this country, we are good enough to serve and die fly overseas, we are good enough to serve in other ways. And the fact that people actually decide that they want to engage in public service, whether it's sitting in Congress or whether it's serving on the fire department or the police department, should not be an issue. The fact is, stop trying to act as if only white men are the ones that are capable. Because right now, you're sitting at a table with 3 very capable black women.
You have to love Jennings' open-mouth response to Crockett. Yeah, that's telling her. Jasmine Crockett has been the go-to spokesperson for DEI for a reason. She speaks in a take-no-prisoners approach when it comes to counterattacking anti-DEI arguments. Her consistent messaging is that white men are crying out over DEI because they want a closed system. They don't want to have to compete. It's hard enough competing against other white men in order to get ahead. Now, they're being asked to compete against women and people of color as well, and it makes it harder. Crockett is asking white men to recognize that they are no longer going to be handed their birthright, white male privilege. And if she doesn't show a lot of sympathy, it's because she's asking white men to feel what it's been like for women and people of color who have been denied the chance to compete for decades. And please, I speak from personal experience. I'm a white man who worked in higher education. Do you think I wasn't passed over dozens of times via DEI? It's just plain harder when you don't get preferential treatment and someone else does. And my point is not that I suffered it better than most white guys. My point is that DEI wasn't the cause of my limited opportunities as a white male. The constantly shrinking economic sphere where we all work and live is to blame. The enormous transfer of wealth from the middle class to the 1% has made us all poorer. It has shrunk opportunities across all career fields. Women and people of color aren't to blame for that. Billionaires and their influence on government policy is. So all the white men out there need to recognize that there would be plenty to go around if you would stop supporting the billionaire class who are constantly shrinking the economic sphere and taking away your opportunities. Your complaint isn't against women and people of color. It's against the concentration of wealth rather than the circulation of wealth. If you want your life to have more opportunity and security, do something about that. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.